A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house. Someone had put up a chain-link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it. My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
Just a moment. Sounds a bit loud. That should be better.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Looks nice.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know, or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Wait. That must be the right way to go, so this must be something else. Yeah, it's the same place of... Ooh.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Okay, this is the right way. Let's go back. If I can work out how I did that. That looks right. I have the distinct feeling that these both go the
I
same
wouldn't
way.
have driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
I had the distinct feeling I was right.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Nice music.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Oops.
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Some of these mouse dragging things are a bit awkward. Maybe I'm not doing it correctly.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Oh, you can use a controller. I just noticed because it rumbled. Oh, whoops. What's the action button? Oh yeah.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Aww.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one. Like how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Hey Ben, how are you? Can understand it. I assume you have daylight savings over there because now we're drifting even further away in time zones. You know, that's another one of those games in my Steam backlog I need to play now.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
Now that I got my Fury record, I have more time to do other games.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
I don't mind if the dialogue's louder than me, as long as like the ambient
Even the
music isn't.
fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Don't look into Fury. It's a bad idea. fine. You better hope that top 10 doesn't become a lot harder to do once that happens. How far away are you? In both the uni and the Fury? I can't remember.
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Easy. Just doing the new train strat. So many books.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
You know, I got 249 on the song the other day. It was like absolutely the most dismal thing I've ever done.
Only one restaurant would deliver to us.
Excuse me.
We had Chinese a lot.
This is back in the first room. I'm walking around in circles. Is that door glued shut? That's kind of gross.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms.
There's my
Then
answer.
Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Only 44 to 1960. Is that like when they were living there?
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin. As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Did anyone live for a substantial amount of time here?
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
They must be, like, their lifespan, so wow, these people died quite young. Wait, was there a peephole in this bottom one?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library. Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
There's a more explicit answer. Why am I laughing at someone being dead? Stop me now.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at
She's got a
keeping
big
secrets.
future ahead of her. Ooh, that's cool.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Was this really... Oh, yeah.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Phew. That's good. There must be a boss coming up soon. Since it saved the game.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Yep. Molly is really rising up in the stakes of best family member. What?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back. I kept eating and eating. I ate a lot of things that night.
I think those dialogue boxes should have gone in the other order.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Oh no.
And suddenly, I was a cat.
What?
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
This is just like Celeste.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl.
What?
First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Hey, Pellet.
I imagined his face looking up and
Oh, that
seeing
is
mine
moderator
over my
Pellet.
tower. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
I said I'd do it, and I did it. Don't say bad
I'm
words to
a
him. He
rabbit.
has political power in this stream now.
Carrie. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
What? This is getting absurd. I can't allow your message, Ben. I don't have a free mouse.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals.
I see what you did there. Oh yeah, okay, I was using the wrong one for a second. What? Ah. It's harder than Dark Souls. Oh cool, then I've only got 13 minutes left.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Ah.
Grabbed on tight. And when I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Oh cool, it's Snake Pass.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
I just have the slightest feeling that Molly is a bit delirious.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Ingested him quickly.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
But also, if the world record is 35, does that mean this is harder than Fury?
Passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
This is an interesting adaptation of the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Is that the toilet of her room? Is it gonna eat her?
I got closer and closer. All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it It's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here, before my mom sealed the doors.
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
It's gonna be like there'll be a key to the next room in here. And now I'm a cat.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Just a moment. Trying to make sense of this family tree. Okay.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Her room was like a museum.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
These, like, things with the swapping images are very nostalgic.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Anything else I missed? Yeah.
even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Ooh.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
It was a pretty big trace.
Oh. This gameplay is
There's a
difficult.
secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Ooh, that's cool.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
It's cute.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Am I gonna have to press the right
I
trigger?
told him going around
in a
was
moment.
impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Alvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Rip.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
First try. Well, at least contraption's really cool.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Don't know which way I should look. I guess I can do both.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Oh, I'm back outside. I've been here before.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
I think that's the dialogue box I was supposed to see a long time ago. Which room did I... Wait, I'll figure it out. Yep, that's where I came through. Or is this door just open now? Probably not. Oh wait, was it through there? I've legitimately forgotten where I came through. I'm almost tempted to walk all the way around, but I don't want to. Oh yeah, here we go. Now I know this was the way I was supposed to go.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been.
No, it's like Hollow Knight actually, like you can go back to the earlier sections.
She's been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding.
Hey, I know where that
until
music box
finally
is.
The key pops out.
And I know how to get there quickly
I'll be
now.
back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned.
It was all
So
intentional.
Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box,
Interactive comic?
and as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
This looks really cool.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Die, evil washing machine. Die, detergent. How much stuff could I hit? It could be achievement for this, you never know. Get down. Charge as in... I'm not sure. Only right trigger's doing anything. Oh! That's it! I knew it!
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Hey, there's the saw where your dad had an accident. And they haven't cleaned up the blood. Or is it fresh blood?
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
We've got it again! This room is considerably less interactive. It's a shame. Wait, she said oh, I thought you meant the ladder. It's a good thing for the comic book that yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad in general I've never had to have crutches or anything.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall. With
It's a
steel
good
hook
thing
for
they
a hand.
included all the
Residents are urged
cue
to
ball
lock
hitting
all doors and windows
in the
and
comic.
notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the Hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
How can you stop my crutch?
And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
It's Molly's room.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges grow. story might not be over yet.
Oh yes, let's see. The new Home Alone is interesting.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
This crutch.
Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Right trigger.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time.
Oh.
He took it all pretty hard. But that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Ooh.
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Ha ha. With two A's.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Oh wait, that's where I came in, isn't it? Oh wait, I do want to go that way, don't I?
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
I'm getting the inclination that they want me to use the music box. Who put these things back? I don't remember that happening in this story.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless
least
I
they
wanted another tetanus shot.
At least they clean up the blood.
saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Oh, Walter lived a reasonable amount of
Goodbye,
time.
everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years.
Oh.
On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was,
Where do you
it
get all
was
the
gone.
calendars from?
Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
Hasn't come to play yet. The thing that fascinates me about this house is the very tall section.
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin.
He killed himself.
Maybe
let's be
this
fair.
is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it.
Don't walk on the train tracks. Haven't you played Life
I'm
is
going to
Strange?
appreciate all of it,
I guess
especially
it
the
hadn't
food.
come out yet.
I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with 1 year again. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Oh.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
It's kind of creepy.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Oh. Okay, so I have to press up to move down. I get you. maybe this is up.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself.
Can I walk off the train track, please?
And found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Yeah, put it vehicles on his memorial. That's very tasteful. Was there something to interact with there? No.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
It's not my fault that the burst is 11 and give herself a 12. I can't match
Maybe
that.
it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Also, it got dark pretty quickly. Like, I haven't been playing the game that slowly.
And when you look at the house, it had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness.
Oh, the swing's
Any
still
of it
there, that's
seems
nice.
possible.
Unfortunately, I was unable to climb over this fence.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Oh. Is that all I had to do? I don't know. It's not letting me use it again, so I guess so. Is there more? What's this to go down here?
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Walking / climbing simulator.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
What flag is that?
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
You could say he was unbearable.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
I bet I have to take a photo or something, and I'm not gonna find it. Like, for an achievement.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee. Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
A coffee mug.
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
Give me an achievement for
Before
something.
you take the shot, let me get a picture of it.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target.
Best photo. That Sam wasn't the photographer of the family.
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Now keep yourself squared up, elbows down. Great shot, Dawn!
Perfect timing.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about—
Dad!
At least they kept that photo.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
I like how it's the gun nut who has all the American flag iconography. Because of course it is.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
I mean, he did die in front of a camera.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Wag away.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Oh. I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey. I'm a frog now.
Time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
My name is Grego. Oh, I want to knock these down first. Is that a fridge, Dave?
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw. It sure made him happy.
Oh yeah, I get you. I thought it was about the Grego thing.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy.
Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us
Oh no.
about the world he saw.
Turn it off, turn it off.
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything.
I wonder if those are in the water if you didn't knock them down.
But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet... A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Ah yes. The kite that you can crash and still have it fine. Be fine.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
I thought that was a glitch.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Some of his collision detection is a bit off, I think. Oh wait, there's something there.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that
It's
nature might
Katamari
destroy
Damacy.
the tent our Dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam. But I didn't, until we found you. She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus. My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
That's me! Can't wait to find out
The
how I
house
died.
had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal, but it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Hashtag no context. It's interesting how they lock off like half of the house, except now the current kids had to live like at the very top. Is it like, we can't reuse these rooms, so we'll just build new ones on top of them. As absurd as it starts to look.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Flipbooks also make me nostalgic. Of course, that's how he died.
Milton disappeared.
But what if he's just living in another secret basement underneath the house?
Mom spent months
Thinking
searching for my
emoji.
brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. after he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
I just feel like this whole structure is not occupational health and safety regulation. Actually... Oh, sweet. Bong Lord.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
I bet he wished he lived in Canada.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself.
Oh, wait.
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Okay.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small.
Multitasking.
Imagining a labyrinth.
Good thing I changed your control.
He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats.
Wait, what's up here?
And toads.
Did this really need a person to do this? Like, can they not get a machine that lines the heads up?
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously.
This is Zelda now.
I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then.
That's cool.
Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis.
He's just
So I
an
let him
arm,
go
let's
on.
be honest.
I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
This is really cool.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him.
Missed!
That all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won.
Really is Mario.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
Actually, this is Spore.
New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
Oh, I wanted to find out what the next Louis city was.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
Shit. Decisions.
The queen was on her own quest for...
Oh no, now I have to play through this game at least 4 times.
radiant rainbows.
It's Superman 64, you have to go
Followed
for
the
the
sound
rings.
of her
Oh shit. I bet I missed an achievement or something for that.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon.
Wait, don't you mean the Lewises?
Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began
I
to
think he
forget
got a
the world we
dodgy
know.
console.
I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Oh no, look at all those fish that aren't getting caught. My OCD is killing me.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
bow before me. Me.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Oh. That looks suspiciously like something.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
I think that message was a bit longer than that piece of paper.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him. Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Just like in real life.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before.
I'm terrible, I
we
know.
left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
I can't believe that the stoner isn't good at video games.
But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful.
What if the smell was just
I've
their
seen that house
uncle
every day of my life.
not bathing as he was hiding underground?
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
I swear that deer just jumped onto a raised platform that didn't exist.
But when I saw
That's the
them,
real
they
insanity.
felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
But her dad's still alive, I assume.
Until I found out about you.
I know he's not a Finch.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this
a
now,
worm or something?
things didn't work out that way.
Oh, it's a
This
kid.
is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it.
It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone.
I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
So she must have like had a miscarriage or something along those lines. That was interesting. I need to check how many achievements I need to get now. Yeah, I really like all the different sort of visual styles that have in the game. Even these credits are cute. Wait, there was an achievement in the credits? You know, I haven't played this for 2 hours yet. I could refund it on Steam. Actually, I can't. I bought it ages ago. They really should have made the game 20 minutes longer. The end ticked. Alright, let's just check how many achievements I'm missing. I'm missing 4. Well, it says play Calvin's story again, I can do that.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch.
The funny thing, there was an achievement for taking both paths to the house, and I pretty much did that. I just walked back and forth, I wasn't sure.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Alright. I'll do that one last bit. So, what are the other two? I need to look in all the peepholes. I think I could start from Molly's and do that. Or are there more peepholes that you can't reach right away?
At the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
I'll look in a moment. Actually, wait. Oh, shit. Does that send you straight back to the start? I wonder. No, it doesn't.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
What's the easiest way to do this? Oh, maybe Barbara's, because there was that shortcut. What's the
Growing up,
drunken sailor
I
achievement,
always
if you
thought of
remember?
Barbara as a child star.
I hope it still lets you do it here.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
I looked through pretty much all these people's. And which story is that one in? I can't. It sounds like
My grandpa Sam spent
Lewis,
7
but
years sharing a room
alright.
with his dead brother, Calvin.
I mean, oh, what was he? Yeah, Lewis. I can't think of it though.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Oh, oh. So it's right at the start of the game.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Alright. Was there more than one telescope?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Because all those peepholes there I'd already done. This is just the way out. Is there a room I missed? I wonder if I can do this already. No, I can't. Maybe if I like if I go to the last one. Oh, whoops. Why is this being weird? Wasn't controlling properly. Is this going to the before I reach the room or not? Oh, it's at the very start.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning.
Oh,
The house.
now this scene makes sense. Although, now what I'll do is I'll take both paths.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Yeah, because I literally like went down here and thought, oh, this must be the real way, so the other one must be a dead end, so I went back the other way.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never.
Alright, got the achievement there, so now... Oh, it's my mouse, it's acting weird. Maybe there were peepholes here I didn't look at. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of it, that's why.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Everyone always told me to stay out of
Yep, that was the last two.
Except Lewis.
Alright, so now, one more to get.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen.
So why wasn't she getting
It
fed?
started when Mom sent me to bed.
I guess
without
maybe she was
dinner.
bad that day.
I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Oh, maybe I can go straight to this. No, it won't let me, okay.
I kept eating and eating. I ate a lot of things that night. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Alright. Here's the platforming champion back at it.
And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
It's quite a good way to open the game. Although if you just joined, I have finished this game. I'm just getting the last achievement. Oh, forgot where it was going.
I jumped and I almost got her.
No, I did. I've just gone back to the start to get this achievement.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was
Also,
in a big
I agree.
tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I
I have
heard
autism
was
too.
nibbling. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Yep. I don't know how apparent it is online, but in real life I'm pretty shy about things.
She was almost too big to
It's really beautiful.
I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
That's just fascinating. Oh hey, it's the end. I never realised it's the end of Inside. Oh no, I'm stuck. Did I sit? What am I doing? Damn, I did this much better my first time through.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
This is like weirdly tough.
I grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water.
Alright.
When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
I think the gerbil food did it to her. I'll just wait for the song to finish here.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Wait, that's the one. Is that the one who's singing, or is it the other one? It doesn't look like it. But I'll wait. I don't want to mess it up and have to go back. Okay. Wait, it's not letting me now. Am I looking the wrong side? Okay. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, that one's fine.
I wanted to stop but also I didn't.
You might be right, but it doesn't matter because I'm not planning to finish this. I'm waiting for him to finish the song. There we go. The song's the only reason I did it.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Just a moment. Yep, I've got all the achievements now. So that's everything finished. Alright. Well, I finished the whole game. So I guess I'll end the stream now. So good night, good afternoon, good morning, etc. Thanks for coming along. I'm quitting. Bye.